Ramakrishnan. Today I'll be covering the chapters Mechanical Properties of Solids and Fluids. Before that, I'll briefly run through how to access the Classics page. First of all, go to classics.com. This is our home page. Click on the practice page here. We have various packages. Select the NEET Premium. You have the revision notes here. Revision notes is basically the important formulae and the concepts which are summarized for all the three subjects: physics, chemistry, and biology, for both class 11 and 12. So we have covered almost all the, not almost everything, all the concepts and the formula which has to be applied for the applied for the different questions which is going to be asked. See, you can offer this. I mean, the packages are there given. We have different chapter wise concepts. Now today I'll go to this concept of mechanical properties of solids and fluids. The weightage is about 2% and for both the chapters, and you can expect 2 questions from this particular chapter. So it is actually combined as one, mechanical properties of bulk bodies. So you can put it as solids and fluids both come together. First, what is deforming force? A force which produces a change in configuration of the object on applying it is called as a deforming force. Elasticity. Elasticity is the property of the object by virtue of which it regains its original configuration after the removal of the deforming force. Elastic limit. Elastic limit is the upper limit of deforming force into which, if deforming force is removed, the body regains its original form completely, and beyond which, if deforming force is increased, the body loses its property of elasticity and permanently deformed. Perfectly elastic bodies, those bodies which regain its original configuration immediately and completely after the removal of deforming forces, are called perfectly elastic bodies. Example: quartz, phosphobronze, etc. Perfectly plastic bodies, those bodies which do not regain its original configuration at all on the removal of the deforming forces, they are called as perfectly plastic bodies. Examples: putty, paraffin, wax, etc. Stress, the internal restoring force acting per unit area of a deformed force is called stress. Stress is equal to the restoring force divided by area. Its unit is Nm to the power of -2 or newtons per meter squared, or Pascal. Its dimensional formula is ml to the power of -2. It should have been -2, not 12, children. Make a note. It is ml to the power of -2, t to the power of -2. Stress is of 2 types. Normal stress, if deforming force is applied normal to the area. Normal is perpendicular to the area. Then the stress, that stress is called as the normal stress. If there is an increase in length, then the stress is called as the tensile strength. If there is a decrease in length, then the stress is called as the compression stress, as in the case of springs. Tangential stress, if deforming force is applied tangentially, then the stress is called tangential stress. Strain. The fractional change in configuration is called strain. Strain is equal to change in configuration by original configuration. This is dimensionless, so it has got no unit. According to the change in configuration, you can classify them into 3 types. That is longitudinal strain, volumetric strain, and the shearing strain. Longitudinal strain is equal to change in length by original length, which is delta L by L. Volumetric strain is change in volume by original volume, delta V by V. And shearing strain is angular displacement of the plane perpendicular to the fixed surface. Hooke's law. Within the elastic limit, the stress is proportional to the strain. or simply you can say stress is proportional to strain. Now, if you apply a constant of proportionality E, then you can say stress is equal to E times strain, where E is equal to stress divided by strain, where E is the modulus of elasticity of the material of the body. Types of modulus of elasticity. We have three moduli of elasticity: Young's modulus, bulk modulus, and rigidity modulus. Young's modulus of elasticity, it is defined as the ratio of the normal stress to the longitudinal strain within the elastic limit. So you can simply put it as normal stress by longitudinal strain, which is equal to F times delta L by AL, or you can, F is nothing but mg. So just simply put it as mg delta L, and A is pi r squared, so pi r squared. Coming to bulk modulus of elasticity, it is defined as the ratio of normal stress to the volume strain within the elastic limit. K is equal to normal stress divided by volume stress, volumetric stress, or you can simply put it as K is equal to F by A into delta V by V divided by delta V by V, or you can put it as, this V comes in the numerator, you can put it as delta P delta, so F by A is nothing but P, right? So P times delta V by V, right? P, so this might be a bit confusing. Now you put F by A as P, so P into V divided by delta V, okay? Because delta P is, or you can also put it as change in pressure as delta P, then you get it as F by A is nothing but delta P. So you can also write it as delta P by delta P V times, I'm sorry children, delta P times V by delta V. So its unit is N by M squared, or Pascal, and its dimensional formula is mL to the power of minus 1 T to the power of minus 2. So make a note of this formula. Modulus of rigidity, it is defined as the ratio of tangential stress to the shearing strain within the elastic limit, eta. Eta is the the symbol which denotes rigidity modulus. Eta is equal to tangential stress divided by shearing strain. Its unit is N M to the power of minus 2, or Pascal, and its dimensional formula is the same as that of the bulk modulus, mL to the power of minus 1 T to the power of minus 2. Compressibility of a material is the reciprocal of bulk modulus, or you can simply say C is equal to 1 by K. So obviously its unit, SI unit, is also now going to be the reciprocal of that. So N to the power of minus 1 M squared. Its CTS unit is dyne to the power of minus 1 centimeter square. Steel is more elastic than rubber. This is a point very much you should have to note. It's been asked in most of the papers. So remember, steel is more plastic than rubber. Solids are more elastic and gases are the least elastic. This is also a point to be noted. For liquids, modulus of rigidity is 0. Young's modulus and moduli of rigidity are possessed by solid materials only. So remember, Young's modulus and moduli of rigidity, they belong only to solid materials. Basically, children, for this chapters, especially for solids, mechanical properties of solids, you can expect more of theoretical questions. So that is why we have covered almost all the points which you have to remember. So less of formula and more of theory in this particular chapter. Whereas when you come to fluids, you'll have more of formula there. So make a note of all the important points which you have given in the revision notes. So limits of elasticity, maximum value of deforming force for which elasticity is present in the body is called its limit of elasticity. Breaking stress. The minimum value of stress required to break a wire is called as breaking stress. Breaking stress is fixed for a material, but breaking force varies with area of cross section of the wire. So safety factor is equal to breaking stress by working stress. Elastic relaxation time. The time delay N restoring the original configuration after removal of deforming force is called elastic relaxation time. For quartz and phosphobronze, this time is negligible. Elastic after effect, the temporary delay in regaining the original configuration of the elastic body after the removal of the deforming force is called as elastic after effect. Elastic fatigue. The property of an elastic body by virtue of its behavior becomes less elastic under the action of repeated alternating deforming force is called as elastic fatigue. Ductile materials. The materials which show large plastic range beyond elastic limit are called as ductile materials. Example, copper, silver, iron, aluminum, etc. Ductile materials are used for making springs and shields. Brittle materials, the materials which show very small plastic range beyond elastic limits are called brittle materials. Example, glass, cast iron, etc. Elastomers, the material for which strain produced is much larger than the stress applied within the limit of elasticity are called as elastomers. Example, rubber. The elastic tissue of aorta. Aorta, you all know, the large vessel carrying the blood from the heart. So elastomers have no plastic range. Next, thermal stress. When temperature of a rod fixed at both its end is changed, then the stress produced is called thermal stress. Thermal stress is equal to F by A, which is equal to Y alpha delta theta, where alpha is the coefficient of linear expansion of the material of the rod. And when temperature of the gas enclosed in the vessel is changed, then there is now going to be a small temperature change, which is now going to be delta theta. So then the thermal stress produced is equal to the change in pressure delta P of the gas. So thermal stress is equal to delta P, which is equal to Ky delta theta, where K is the bulk modulus, Y is the Young's modulus, and delta theta is equal to the change in the temperature. So interatomic force constant K is equal to YR0, where R0 is the interatomic distance. Next is the Poisson ratio. When a deforming force is applied at the free end of a suspended wire of length 1 and radius r, then its length increases by dl, but its radius decreases by dr. Now two types of strains are now going to be produced. So note this, a single force is now going to produce two types of strain. One is the longitudinal strain and the other is the lateral strain. The longitudinal strain is now going to be delta UL. Lateral strain is minus delta R by R. So therefore, the Poisson ratio sigma is equal to lateral strain by longitudinal strain, which is nothing but minus of delta by R by delta UL. So the theoretical value of Poisson's ratio lies between -1 and 0.5. Its practical value lies between 0 and 0.5. What are the other important points you'll have to note in this particular chapter are the following. Coefficient of elasticity depends upon the material, its temperature and purity, and not on stress or strain. For the same material, the three coefficients of elasticity, gamma, eta, and K, have different magnitudes. Isothermal elasticity of a gas, ET, is equal to rho, where rho is the pressure of the gas. Adiabatic elasticity of the gas, ES, is equal to gamma rho. So therefore, gamma is equal to, where you know gamma is equal to Cp by Cv, that is the ratio of specific heat of constant pressure and at constant pressure and at constant volume. Ratio between isothermal elasticity and adiabatic elasticity, ES by ET, is equal to gamma, which is equal to Cp by Cv. We'll be learning more about these ratios in the kinetic theory of gases in the next chapters, coming chapters. Cantilever. What is a cantilever? A cantilever, a beam clamped at one end and loaded at free end, is called as a cantilever. Depression at the free end of the cantilever is given by delta is equal to WL cubed by 3YIG, where Y is load, L is the length of the cantilever, Y is the Young's modulus, and IG is the geometrical moment of inertia. For a beam of rectangular cross section having breadth B and thickness D, then IG is equal to, you know, it is BD cubed by 12. So just simply substitute that. For a beam of circular cross sectional area having radius R, then IG is equal to pi R to the power of 4 divided by 4. For a beam supported at two ends and loaded at the middle. So the weights are now going to be at the end and are supported. They are going to be supported at the ends and the load is now going to be in the middle. Then you say the depression at the middle delta is given by WL cubed divided by 48 YIG. Torsion of a string, sorry, torsion of a cylinder. When eta is the moduli of rigidity of material of the cylinder, R is the radius and L is the length of the cylinder. Work done in twisting the cylinder through an angle theta is given by W is equal to R C theta squared. Half C theta squared. Relation between angle of twist theta and the angle of shear phi is given by R theta is equal to I phi, or phi is equal to R by L, which is equal to theta. Coming to mechanical properties of fluids, as I told you, this is less of theory and more of formula. So you can expect more problems, numericals from fluids, whereas theoretical questions from solids. So make a note of all the formula. Pressure is equal to F by A, that is thrust per unit area. Pascal law, F1 by A1 is equal to F2 by A2. If P is equal to H rho G, pressure due to the column of the liquid of density rho and G is acceleration due to gravity and height as H. Equation of continuity is given by A1 B1 rho 1 is equal to A2 B2 rho 2. Pressure energy of the liquid of volume dV is given by P dV. So P dV by rho dV is equal to P by rho. dV dV gets cancelled, so it's P by rho, which is the pressure energy for unit mass. Bernoulli's theorem states that P by rho plus V squared by 2 plus GH is equal to a constant. For steady flow of non-viscous liquids along a horizontal pipe, P1 plus half rho V1 squared is equal to P2 plus half rho V2 squared. Terminal velocity V is equal to 2R squared rho minus sigma times Y by Q eta. Rho is the density. Rho is the density of the liquid and eta is the rigidity modulus. You all know the coefficient of viscosity. Eta is the coefficient of viscosity here. Remember that. So then Poiseuille's equation, volume of the liquid coming out is V is equal to pi rho R power 4 divided by 8QL. Pi rho R power 4 divided by 8QL. A very important formula to be noted. Reynolds number, this is also a very important formula. RE is equal to rho VD by eta. Rho is the density of the liquid, V is the velocity, D is the distance, and eta is now going to be the rigidity modulus. Critical velocity VC is equal to K eta by rho R. Surface tension H, this is also a very important formula. You can come across many problems related to surface tension. So H is equal to 2T cos theta, that is should be cos theta by R rho G, where theta is now going to be the angle of contact, T is the surface tension, R is the radius of the capillary tube, and rho is the density of the liquid, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. Velocity of efflux is given by root of 2GH. Stokes law, F is equal to x6 pi eta R. So these are the important formula you'll have to remember. Now quickly let us go to the problems which are related to these two chapters. Go to this page. You have physics tests here. You have tests for all the three subjects, physics, chemistry, biology, and you also have the needful tests. We have different tests for, we have tests for all chapter-wise questions. We have actually, yeah, you can see we have designed it this way for all the chapters, covering from chapter 1 to the end for both class level 11 and 12. This is purely designed only for NEET exams, so you can go through the tests any number of times. Make yourself go through the NEET revision tests chapter wise. Learn all the concepts well, then attempt your test. Even if you have, so here you can see that the blue bubbles represent, they say that you have not taken the test, it is yet to be taken. The red one is the random test. Green is you have attempted the test. Even if you have attempted the test, you're not satisfied with your results, you can attempt it any number of times. And yellow represents the incomplete test. Now let's go to the questions, properties of solids and liquids. I'm going to the first test. Question number 1. A tank filled with water has a hole at a certain height from its bottom. The volume of water emerging out per second from the hole does not depend on. Let's see. Now, volume of the water coming out of the hole is given by V is equal to A root of 2GH, where A is the area of cross section, G is the acceleration due to gravity, and H is the height of the water column. From this formula, you can see that it does not depend on the density of the liquid. So let's see which option is correct. So does not depend on the density of the liquid. Save that, go to the next. Water rises to a height of 20 millimeters in a capillary. The radius of the capillary is made 1/3 of its is made. Well, then what is the new value of the capillaries? Okay, it is now going to be the 1/3 of its previous value, this is. Let's quickly calculate this. Height of the capillary rise, we know from the revision notes I have given, H is equal to 2t cos theta divided by R rho G, where rho is the density, or you also know that H1 R1 is equal to H2 R. Or from this you can infer H2 by H1 is equal to R1 by R2. Now simply apply that. 1 by 3, which is equal to 3, or H2 is equal to 3 times H1, or given H1 is 30, right? So 3 into 20, which is equal to 60 millimeters. Let's see which option is correct. 60 millimeters. It should have been the previous value made, children. So make a note of it. Going to the third one. The elastic energy stored in a wire of Young's modulus Y is Y into strain squared by volume. So let's see which option is correct. Let's quickly solve that. Elastic potential energy V is stored in the wire when the force is applied. So let us take the extension to be delta L. So V is equal to half F delta L, which is equal to half into F by A. Let me multiply and divide by A. So times A into, let me multiply by delta L. Let me multiply and divide by L. I'm dividing and multiplying by A and L. So this is now going to be half into F by A is nothing but stress. And this is now going to be strain into volume. A into L is volume. Now this is going to be pretty easy. Now half Y strain squared into volume. Let's see which option is correct. Half Y strain squared into volume. So you can see option D is correct, right? Half Y strain squared. Yeah, half strain, I'm sorry, C is correct. Half Y strain squared into volume, because you have only strain here. It is strain squared into volume. Oh my God. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, we were doing the third question. So let me, yeah, we did the third. Yeah, we were doing the third question. So half Y strain squared volume, C is the correct option. Go to the next. A wire breaks when subjected to a stress S. If rho is the density of the material of wire, then the length of the wire so that it breaks by its own weight is what? Let's quickly solve that. Now let L be the length of the wire of stress due to the length L. Now the stress is now going to be S is equal to L rho G, or L is equal to S by rho G. S by rho G. Let's see which option is correct. S by rho G. Yes, B option is correct. Click that, go to the next. The bulk modulus of elasticity of helium at 1 atmospheric pressure, assuming variation of pressure and volume is adiabatic, is what? Let's solve that. Bulk modulus of adiabatic process is given by gamma P. Gamma for helium is 5 by 3. So 1 atmosphere is now going to be given as 1.05 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. So therefore, we can simply substitute in the bulk modulus formula, which is equal to, all this will be given, all these data will be given, the bulk modulus and the atmospheric pressure, everything will be given. So 5 by 3 times 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5, which is nothing but 1.73 into 10 to the power of 5. So let's see which option is correct. Option B. Yeah, save that, go to the next. Work done in increasing the length of 1 meter long wire of cross-sectional area 1 millimeter squared through 1 millimeter is Y is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter squared. So what is the work done that is being asked? Let's quickly solve that. Work done, you know, is equal to half into Young's modulus into strain squared into volume, which is equal to half into Y into delta L squared by delta L. I'm sorry, delta L squared by L squared into B can be written as A into L, or this is simply half or Y A delta L squared divided by 1L and 1L will get cancelled, so it's not going to be simply L. Simply substitute the formula. 2 into 10 to the power of 11 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by L is 2 into 1. So when you simplify this, you can get 2 and 2 gets cancelled. You can just calculate the powers of 10. So that gives you 0.1 joule. So let's see which option is correct. Option D is correct. Save that. A steel wire of uniform cross section of 2 millimeters squared is heated up to 50 degrees and clamped rigidly at 2 ends. See, we learned about cantilever. You can make use of that now. If the temperature of wire falls to 30 degrees, then the change in tension in wire will be if the coefficient of linear expansion of steel is given 1.1 and 10 to the power of minus 5, and also Y is given 2 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter square. All right, let's solve this. Now force F is equal to Y alpha delta T A. Having known all the values, substitute 2 into 10 to the power of 11 into Y is 1.1 in 10 to the power of minus 5 into 20 into 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6. 20 is the temperature change. 50 minus 30 is now going to give you 20. So we have substituted that value. So having substituted all the values, simplify that. That gives you 8.8 newtons. Let's see which option is correct. 88 newtons. and it's not 88, 8.8 children, it's 88 newtons. So option B is correct. Save that. Go to the next. Let me change that. This is nothing but 88 newtons. Yeah. Let me clear that. Now going to the next one. The volume of a solid rubber ball when it is carried from a surface of 200 meters deep lake decreases by 0.1%. The value of bulk modulus elasticity of rubber will be what? All right. Bulk modulus is given by B is equal to minus of delta P V by delta V. Now you know delta P is equal to H rho G. Let's calculate that. 200, H is given as 200 into 10 to the power of 3 into G, you know, is, let us take it as 10. So that gives you 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per meter square. All right, let us calculate delta V by V, which is nothing but 0.1 divided by 100, which is equal to 10 to the power of minus 3. Now having known all the values, substitute in B. So that gives you B is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 6 divided by 10 to the power of minus 3. Ten to the power of 3. Yeah, children, this is not, yeah, 10 to the power of 3. Or I can bring it down and write it as 10 to the power of 3. So that will give you 10 to the power of minus 3. Not 1. Yeah, 10 to the power of minus 3. So that will give you 2 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton per meter square. Let's see which option is correct. 2 into 10 to the power of 9 pascals. Yeah, option A is correct. Click that, go to the 9th. For a given material, the Young's modulus is 2.4 times that of the rigidity modulus. Its Poisson ratio is what? So remember, we learned about Poisson ratio in the NEET notes. Quickly remember that. Where sigma is the Poisson ratio. So y is equal to 2 eta into 1 plus sigma. So sigma is the Poisson ratio, eta is the coefficient of viscosity, and y is, sorry, eta is rigidity modulus and y is the Young's modulus. Having known all the value, now you know y is equal to 2.4 times eta. This you have to remember. Y is equal to 2.4 times eta. So now substitute here. 2.4 eta is equal to 2 eta into 1 plus sigma. So from this we get 1 plus sigma, eta and eta gets cancelled. So you get it as, when you divide this, 1 plus sigma is equal to 1.2 or sigma is equal to 0.2. Let's see which option is correct. 0.2, C option is correct. Click that, go to the next. Our barometer tube reads 76 centimeters of mercury. If the tube is gradually inclined at an angle of 60 degrees with the vertical, keeping the opening end immersed in mercury reservoir, the length of the mercury column will be what? This is easy, children. Now look. Let us consider this is the barometer filled with mercury. Let us take this as the perpendicular. This is inclined through an angle theta, he says, to an angle 60 degrees. Suppose, let us take L to be the length of the, L is the length of mercury column. When it is tilted, all right? When, then you know that L cos 60 degrees will be equal to H. When I complete this, let me complete this. You get, this is going to be H, right? This is now going to be the length of the, so L cos 60 is now going to be H. but H is given as 76 centimeters. So substitute, and cos 60 is half, you know that. So L by 2 is equal to 76, or this implies L should be equal to 152 centimeters. So let's see which option is correct. 152, option A is correct. Click that, go to the next. Two liquids which do not react chemically are placed in a bent tube as shown. The heights of the liquids above their surface of separation, you can see H2 and H1 are given. Are shaded. Now you can see the shaded portion. The liquids are of two different densities. That is, one is ρ1 and the other is ρ2. Now what is he asking? He is asking you the heights of liquids above their separation are what? Okay. Pressure at the interface of two liquids must be the same. So in that case, it is now going to be H1 ρ1 G is equal to H2 ρ2 G. G and G gets cancelled. So this implies H1 ρ1 is equal to H2 ρ2. Or you can say that H rho is equal to a constant. Or this implies H is inversely proportional to density, 1 by rho. So option, let's see which option is correct. Yeah, inversely proportional to the densities. B option is correct. Save that, go to the next. A rubber balloon has 200 grams water in it. Its weight in water will be what? This is an interesting problem. Now, you know, inside the water, the weight of the balloon is now going to be due to the upward thrust. Now, the upward thrust is equal to the weight of equal volume of water. Okay, equal to the volume of the equal volume of the water. So you can now say that apparent weight is equal to, yes, apparent weight is equal to mg into rho minus rho 0 divided by rho 0. Now this is going to be filled with water, so rho is equal to rho 0. Okay, this is filled with water. So, and it is now going to be immersed inside the water. He's asking you to find out the water, weight inside the water. So rho we can take to be rho 0. In that case, rho minus rho 0 becomes 0, right? When you subtract, it becomes, which means this is going to be 0. So 0. D option is correct. Go to the next. Siphon is a device to transfer liquid from a higher level to a lower level. The condition of working of siphon is what? All right. Look at the diagram carefully. Now here H1, you can see H1. H1 should be less than the height of the corresponding liquid in the barometer. Otherwise, the liquid will not rise to that level. Okay. So it won't rise. So which option is correct? You can see H2 greater than H1. No, that cannot be true. H2 is equal to 2H1. That cannot be true. H1 should be less than the corresponding barometer, liquid barometer. So C should be the correct option. Save that, go to the next. The energy released when 1,000 small drops, each of radius 10 to the power of minus 7 coalesce to form a single big drop. So the surface tension is given of the liquid is given 14 into 10 to the power of minus 2 Newton. Okay, let's solve this. All right, let us take R to be the radius of the big drop. Radius of the big drop. So its volume will be 4 by 3 pi R cubed, which is equal to 1000. So this is a combination of 1000 drops, right? So let me put it as 1000 into 4 by 3 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 the whole cube. So from this 4 by 3 pi cancels. So now you can find out that R is equal to, taking the cube root, you can find out it is going to be 10 to the power of minus 6. So now if you take the change in surface area to be delta A, okay, change in surface area is delta A, then that implies 4 pi r squared, because surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. We are taking the drop to be a perfect sphere, okay? Minus 1000 into 4 pi r squared. All right? 4 pi r squared minus 1000, 4 pi r. Oh, I must put this as capital R. Yeah. 4 pi r squared minus 1000 into 4 pi r squared. So what would be that? Let me take 4 pi as a common factor. So that would give me, we have already found out that it's nothing but 10 to the power of minus 6. So 10 to the power of minus 6, the whole squared, minus 10 to the power of 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7. See, 10 to the power of 1000 can be written as 10 to the power of 3 times 10 to the power of minus 7, the whole square. Now quickly simplify this. So that gives you 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 12 minus, this is going to be 10 to the power of minus 14. Minus 14 plus 3 will give you 10 to the power of minus 11. 10 to the power of minus 11. So when you calculate this, so which is nothing but 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 12 minus 10 to the power of minus 11. So when you work out, that gives you, now what, let us now have this as it is. Now the energy released, you know, is going to be equal to, energy released is equal to T into modulus of delta T, which is equal to 14 into 10 to the power of minus 2 into, this is, when you calculate this, that gives you 36 into 36 pi into 10 to the power of minus 12 meters squared. So when you simplify and calculate, you get this value. So I can put this as 14 into 10 to the power of minus. Now substitute for delta A. So that would give you 36 into, put pi as 22 by 7 into 10 to the power of, I'm sorry, actually, this is 10 to the power of minus 2. This should be 10 to the power of minus 2. So 10 to the power of minus 2. So that gives you, when you calculate, simplify and calculate, that gives you 1.58 into 10 to the power of 11 joules. Just a second, children. 1 second. Let me make. So this would be 10 to the power of minus 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 4 is 36. Yeah, perfect. So that gives you 10 to the power of minus 11 joules. Okay. Yeah. So we have 1.58 option B. Yeah. Take that. Go to the last question. To what depth relative to the surface does mercury dip down in a capillary tube of radius 1 millimeter surface tension? P is equal to 0.5 Newton per meter. Density of mercury is given as 13.6 in 10 to the power of 3 kilograms per meter cube. Take G as 9.8 meters per second. All right. Let's clear this. Now make use of the formula. H is equal to 2t cos theta divided by R rho G. Having known all the values, straight application of the formula, you know all the values. 2, surface tension is given as 0.5, cos of 120, cos of 120 divided by R is 10 to the power of minus 3, rho is given as 13.6 in 10 to the power of 3, and G is 9.8. Having known, now cos 120, cos in the second quadrant is negative, you know, so it is now going to be minus of 1 by half. So that gives you minus, so all right, I'll put it this way, 2 into 0.5 into minus half divided by 10 to the power of minus 3 into 13.6 into 10 to the power of 3 into 9.8. So when I calculate this, simplify this, I get minus 3.75 into 10 to the power of minus 3. so many millimeters, or I can put it as 3 minus 3 points so many meters, or I can put as 3.75 millimeters. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, minus 3.75 millimeters. So you have two options which might confuse you, plus 3.5 and minus 3.5, but we have clearly got it to be a negative value, so you can as well mark that. So save that. Now we have finished all the tests. End the test. The results will be loading. Yeah, it says one incorrect answer. Let's check that incorrect answer. What is the incorrect answer? His trace, the elastic energy stored in a wire of Young's modulus Y is Y into strain squared by volume. So we marked it as Y into strain squared into volume. Let us see the explanation given. Half into F delta L, but actually it is correct. It's an technical error in the site. I'll ask the concerned people to change it. So make a note, what we did is correct. Okay. So half Y strain squared into volume. What we marked is correct. You can see. So clearly you can see C is the correct option. Half strain squared into volume divided by 2, but there's a technical error which says that it is D is the correct incorrect answer. So let us change that. So this is going to be your correct answer. And close it. Then you can see that the yellow boxes says it's unanswered. Since we came back, the first two questions were saved in the first in the previous one which we took, test which we took. So that shows it as unanswered. All the other answers, green boxes says that you've done it correctly. So with this, you can verify your results, saying that how many times you have, if you're satisfied, until or otherwise you're satisfied with your test, you can go on repeating the test. Go to the neat notes, go to the revision neat notes, make note of all the formula. See all the formula we have, so you can as well see that we have made use of all the formula. So we tutors have made things easier for you. So you can purchase the particular package, and this revision notes will come along with the package. So you can make use of all these notes and take on the test several times, and you can score very good marks. So during this lockdown period, it is now going to be pretty useful for you guys. And your NEET exams are going to be, I think it's already announced. So you can fix up the time, make yourself thorough with all the 3 subjects, and then go to the NEET full test. That also you can attempt any number of times and score very good marks. Thank you, children. Tomorrow I'll be going to the next chapter, thermal properties. So until then, goodbye, children.